The Dive Bar. So picture Sasha, innocently sitting alone in her apartment on a hot summer afternoon, and the phone rings. She answers, and a woman says, "This is Anne." "Who?" says Sasha. "I think you know." Anne says. "Well, I don't." Sasha is not trying to be difficult. She honestly doesn't know. She is trying to think of possible Annes whose voices she should recognize. Is it someone she missed an appointment with? Is this the owner of that camera she found in a cab last month and kept? "I'm Carson's wife," Anne says. Sasha says, "Oh." And even if she sat around from now until eternity saying "oh" every few seconds, she would never be able to inject it with as many layers of significance and wonder again. "I was thinking we ought to have a drink," Anne says. And to paraphrase Dr. Seuss, Sasha does not know quite what to say. Should she meet her for drinks? Now what should she do? Well, what would you do if your married lover's wife asked you? After the phone call, Sasha finds she is too agitated to stay in the apartment, so she calls her roommate, Monique, at work. Monique is just leaving, so they decide that Sasha will walk down Broadway from 106th Street, and Monique will walk up Broadway from 36th, and they will have a drink in whichever establishment they happen to meet in front of. Because Sasha is anxious, she walks faster than Monique, and they end up meeting in front of a Taco Tico on 64th Street, but they cheat slightly and go into an Irish bar next door. "Wow," says Monique when Sasha tells her about Anne's phone call. "That must have been so humiliating for her when you didn't recognize her name." Sasha frowns slightly. Isn't Monique supposed to be on her side about this? Besides, it wasn't that she'd forgotten Anne's name. It was that Carson never used it. Always he said, "My wife. I have to go, my wife is expecting me. Let me call my wife and tell her I'll be late." "And how did she know your name?" Monique asks. "I guess Carson told her that when he told her about me," Sasha says. "So when are you meeting her?" "Next Wednesday." Monique looks startled. "That's a long way away." "I think so too," says Sasha. But she was all sort of businesslike and obviously flipping through a calendar saying, "Now let's see, when can I fit you in?" And next Wednesday was evidently the first opening. "Do you think she's planning to murder you?" Monique asks, finishing the last of her beer. "No, because we're meeting at a bar on Amsterdam and 99th, Sasha says. "It's not like she's luring me to some remote underpass." "Not to change the subject," Monique says, digging into her bag and pulling out a brochure. "But will you come with me to this singles volunteer thing tomorrow? We're refurbishing a brownstone for a needy family." "I thought you were doing that singles grocery night thing," Sasha says, "on Thursdays." "Well, I was until last Thursday," Monique says, looking all head up. "When I had this long, intense talk with a man in the checkout line, and it turned out he works for Lambda Legal and was just there because he needed salad stuff." "They should limit entrance to the store on those nights," Sasha says. "So will you come with me?" Monique says. "Or, unless, I guess, now that Carson has left his wife, maybe you're not single anymore." This sounds vaguely insulting, and more than a little negative, so Sasha says, "I'll see." After meeting Monique, Sasha takes the subway down to Carson's club, where he's been staying for the past 2 weeks. Sasha loves his club, the threadbare stateliness of it, the way the staff flirt with her, the masculine rooms. She doesn't care if he lives there forever. She happens to meet Carson in the lobby, where he is collecting his mail, and in the elevator, she tells him about the phone call. He looks startled. "She called you?" "Yes, and asked me out for a drink." "Well, I don't think you should go," Carson says. "She's not a nice drunk." The elevator stops and some other people get on, so Sasha is left to digest this piece of information in silence. Anne is not a nice drunk. She can add this to the only other 2 details Carson has ever revealed about Anne, which is that she works as an administrator for a non-profit charity for the homeless, and that it drives him crazy the way she never empties the fluff out of the dryer filter. Sasha wonders if it's some sort of flaw in her character that she was never more curious about Anne. Shouldn't she have been fascinated, eaten up by jealousy, followed them on marital outings? Once they get to Carson's room, she says, "How is she not a nice drunk?" Carson is flipping through his mail.
"She just repeats herself endlessly, but she repeats herself endlessly when she's sober, too."
Another piece of information. Maybe Sasha should have been asking questions all along. But why do you think she wants to meet me? Is she going to murder me?
"Huh," says Carson, dumping his mail on the desk. "She might bore you to death, but otherwise you're pretty safe.